in a few minutes. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. The Father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
This was not an attack on him, but we felt it was very disrespectful on how he came about it and how we, even before you even knew it was a thing, we were asking him repeatedly to leave. And literally, he wouldn't even talk. He wouldn't even say anything. He felt like he could just stand there. That's not right. It was very upsetting to me. It's not right. Because if you're coming here for, I heard somebody say he was coming there for prayer. He was coming there to come and hug. Well, that wasn't the spirit that we got. There were more than 12, 15 people. Even the media came and approached him. Even DPD plainclothes officers approached him before the uniformed officers even arrived. So at the end of the day, we felt like he was coming in peace. Well, that's a hell of a way of coming in peace. By when someone's approaching you and asking you to step back because you're in a secure lane, they don't even know who you is. You could have been a person of CBS 11 or anything. If he would have just stepped back with the when the security asked him to, hell, the media probably wouldn't even notice that he was there. It was because of the confrontation of the security person telling him to move back that the media even noticed him, because he had shades and a sling that they have never saw him in. I don't know this man. I've never saw him a day in my life. So I didn't point him out and say, oh, he got to go. I didn't even know who he was. And so this rush to judgment, these attacks on our organization, the attacks on me or whatever it may be, man, keep them going, right? I'm built for that, okay? I'm ready for it.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf story. Once again, a story that, quite honestly, I told myself I'm going to try not to talk about this until there are some real developments in the story, because at this point, most people still talking about this story are just trying to drag it out and to milk it for everything that is worth, without there being any real new developments in the story that are worth talking about. But I could not help myself when it comes to reacting to this video, this new video from Dominique Alexander, the woke handler of Karmelo Anthony, okay? Not his legal representation, but his woke handler, right? These are the grifters, right? These are the people that are responsible for making it seem like Karmelo Anthony is a victim and the family is a victim, and therefore they need to raise money, okay, to protect these victims, okay? That's the grift here, right? That's the grift. This dude is trying to be a young Al Sharpton, right? I'm convinced he's following in Al Sharpton's race hustling footsteps. I mean, look at the name of his organization, Next Generation Action Network, right? That's the name of this man's organization. What's the name of Al Sharpton's organization? I think it's like the National Action Network. Yeah, so again, these people aren't that creative when it comes to names, right? And this guy is basically like a carbon copy of Al Sharpton. This dude's a minister and all that, right? Like, I mean, just straight up stole Al Sharpton's whole flow, right? Stole his swag, okay? I mean, these people have made a business model out of race hustling and ambulance chasing, okay? This guy is a career criminal who all of a sudden decided to become a minister and to try to make money grifted. See, this is what happens when you don't have any real skills or talent, right? When you can't really provide anything of value to society, what you do is that you provide chaos, hate, and division, right? And you make money off that. And that's exactly what this guy is doing. And he is lashing out against some of the people who are criticizing him for kicking out Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf's father, from a press conference that was for the public, right? It was a public press conference, but apparently Jeff Metcalf couldn't be there, right? Even though it was a press conference open to the public. Now, this happened a few weeks ago, and this dude is so bothered about the backlash that he's getting that he is now speaking out once again about the backlash that he has gotten for what he did. And I want to talk about it, but I have to say this before we get into this video, is that if any of you guys ever face any type of serious bodily harm, like for example, from a car accident, make sure that you get yourself some real legal representation. Like for example, Morgan & Morgan. And that is why they are the sponsor of this video. Life can change in an instant. One moment you're fine, the next, well, everything is different. You're left with questions, with pain, with the feeling that you've been wronged, and the system, well, it feels like it is built against you. This is why you need somebody that's on your side, somebody that understands, somebody that will fight for you. At Morgan & Morgan, they're not just lawyers, they're advocates. They're here to give you a voice when yours feels lost. They've recovered billions for people just like you. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, takes on all types of injury cases from car accidents to medical malpractice. They fight for your rights and the compensation that you deserve if you become their client so that you can focus on healing. They've achieved significant verdicts over the past few months for the victims involved in life-altering car crashes, like out in Florida, a $12 million verdict, which was over 34 times the highest insurance offer. And they work on a contingency fee basis, which means that you don't pay unless you win. It's really that simple, to be honest with you. So you can start your claim now with Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/blackconservative, which will be in the description below, right? The link will be in the description below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen with your phone's camera.
Let me say this. The Anthony family didn't even know that Austin's dad was even in the facility. They didn't know that Austin's dad was here until he was actually removed by DPD. One of our security people asked him to move back. He looked back at him like he was entitled or like he didn't have to move, whatever it may be. We didn't even know who he was at this time. We just asked him to step back. Then one of the members of the media told us that, hey, that's the dad. I said, the dad of who? I said, who? What? He was like, yeah, that's Austin's dad. I said, I know you lying. Like, what? He can't be here. And so what we initiated is making sure that we secured the facility. Let me make this very clear. The Anthony family didn't even know he was here. But how do we know what he came here for? He didn't come and asked or come to us and said, he just stood there. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if we started the press conference, and I'm not accusing him of anything. We didn't know if he was going to pull out a gun. We didn't know what we didn't know.
Wow. One of the reasons, the main reason that I am reacting to this video is because the irony from what this guy is saying is absolutely incredible. It is a legendary amount of irony. I mean, there's no way this guy is not experiencing cognitive dissonance right now, right? He has to be, because this guy is making an argument for why it is okay to kick out Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, from a public press conference, right? Well, he didn't belong there. We didn't know why he was here. He may have had a firearm. We don't know what's going on. So we felt unsafe. And this is why we had to have him removed, right? So logically speaking, you would think that this guy would be able to understand where Austin Metcalf was coming from when it comes to Karmelo, right? The fact is that Karmelo was in a space that he was not wanted. He was sitting under a tent that he was not supposed to be sitting under. Under this tent, you have the belongings of the students who are actually supposed to be sitting under that tent. And maybe, just maybe, they don't want strangers, people they don't know, sitting under their tent with their belongings, right? Where their stuff can get stolen. For whatever reason, this dude cannot apply the same logic that he's applying to justify kicking out Jeff Metcalf to the Karmelo Anthony situation, right? For whatever reason, in the Karmelo Anthony situation, this guy doesn't understand why is it that Austin Metcalf, his brother, and whoever else was there may have wanted Karmelo Anthony to leave, and why Karmelo Anthony should have left instead of stabbing Austin Metcalf in the chest over a push, right? So again, I'm trying to figure out why is it that this man cannot apply the same exact logic that he's using here to justify kicking out Jeff Metcalf? Why can't he apply that logic to Karmelo Anthony? Why can't he do that? Why hasn't he come out here and said, yeah, Karmelo should have left? He had no business being under the tent, and him being told to leave was 100% justified. Why is it that this guy doesn't understand this? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. The irony here is insane, right? It's absolutely insane.
But at the end of the day, will we just wait and just say, oh man, just let's start the press conference? We didn't pat anybody down coming into the facility. We didn't look at everybody. We didn't know, y'all.
Yeah, these exact same arguments can be applied to why is it that Austin Metcalf and whoever else asked Karmelo Anthony to leave. The exact same logic. You can use this exact same argument. Again, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this dude recorded this video and decided to put it out on the internet without understanding how hypocritical he sounds. Again, we're not dealing with the brightest people here, guys. We're not. I mean, on average, we're dealing with people who have room temperature IQ. I'm so serious, right? I am very serious. Anytime I cover these stories, right? Again, for the most part, we're dealing with people who are just not very bright. They're not very smart. This is not a video I would have recorded and put out on the internet. I just would not have done that because this just it sounds very, very, very hypocritical.
But these YouTubers and TikTok and all these people started to rush to judgment. I'm being insensitive. I'm being this. I have a press conference with a whole media press corps in a family that I have to ensure the safety of. NGAN had at least 12 people on our security team that day. We could have removed him if we wanted to. We could have literally done that. But no, what we did was we tried, because of the sensitivity of the case, allow DPD to handle it. If anybody that was there, no, we didn't lack security, right? But where he came in and approached, we could not allow him to stay there. Not only outside of the fact that this is a current pending criminal case, right? And the press conference was about the Anthony family and their use of funds. The funds that they have not even received yet at that time. So it wasn't really about the particulars of the case. It was about these false narratives that came out about how they were using their funds.
Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Again, the irony here is it's insane. It really is. I can't believe this guy watched this video and didn't think to himself, well, again, all these same arguments, the same logic can apply to the Karmelo Anthony situation. Why am I defending this kid? Right? I mean, he just admitted that, yeah, our team, we could have removed him because we didn't want him there. He didn't belong there. So, yeah, we could have removed him. Now, according to this guy's logic, right, the fact that he's defending Karmelo Anthony, if he were to try to remove Jeff Metcalf, then Jeff Metcalf would be 100% justified in stabbing them in the chest, right, due to the fact that at that point, Jeff Metcalf could claim self-defense, according to this dude's logic, according to the arguments that they're making, okay, and the person that they're defending. It's incredible. It really is. It really is. Like I told you guys, we're not dealing with the brightest people. We're not dealing with very sophisticated people. We're dealing with people who think at a very primitive level, right? And I think once you realize that, you kind of understand that there is no reason or logic or any type of rational conversation that will change these people's minds, right? Because they're not operating in the same reality that we're operating in, right? He's operating in a reality that everything a black person does is right, everything a white person does is wrong, right? Karmelo Anthony being under the tent, being asked to leave, and then not leaving, he doesn't have to leave, right? He's black, okay? He doesn't have to leave, okay? He can stab somebody in the chest for trying to physically remove him. This is what they're saying. This is their argument. But when it comes to Jeff Metcalf, oh no, he got to go, right? He's at a public press conference, right? We don't want him there. And we could have removed him personally if we wanted to. But we just chose to have the police do it. But if we wanted to do it, we could have removed him. So again, why does that same logic not apply to the Austin Metcalf and Karmelo situation? Because Austin, allegedly was trying to remove Karmelo because he wasn't supposed to be there, right? This guy doesn't even realize that he's making an argument for why what Karmelo did was not self-defense. He wasn't supposed to be there, and he should have left, right? And Austin had every right to tell him to leave because he wasn't supposed to be there, according to this dude's same argument, the argument he just made about why it was justified to kick out Jeff Metcalf from a public press conference, right? Again, we're not dealing with the brightest individuals. And I honestly don't understand why the family continues to have this guy come out and to speak on their behalf, because he's not helping the case. He's not helping them from a PR standpoint. It has to be about money at this point. It has to be, because this guy is great at raising money, and it can't really be about strengthening the case for Carmelo Anthony, or Carmelo Anthony actually, being innocent and, acting in self-defense. It can't be about that. It can't be, because if that's what it's about, then this dude should not be talking, right? I mean, the family should have fired this guy a long time ago. But again, he's raised a lot of money. He's good at that. So I think that's why they keep him around, to be honest with you. But the more this dude talks, I think the worse it gets for Carmelo. At this point, I mean, they don't really care about Carmelo. They're using him as a tool to make money, right? And that's essentially what this has become about, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.